On behalf of the USC Architectural Guild, I would like to welcome you to the 51st Annual Dinner of the USC Architectural Guild. My name is Corey Tickton, President of the USC Architectural Guild's Board of Directors for this 2009-2010 year. We are delighted tonight to honor Mr. Phil Enquist, a Fellow of the American Institute of Architects and design partner of Skidmore, Owings & Merrill, Chicago, for his accomplishments as this year's 2010 Distinguished Alumnus. We are proud to celebrate his outstanding achievements and contributions to the profession tonight. As a fellow alumnus of SOM, I'm aware of the passion and conviction that each of its collaborators holds close to their own work, and Phil's career has certainly hit the mark and truly deserves to be this year's 2010 Distinguished Alumnus. From Chicago tonight are Phil's wife and USC alumna, Joanna, and many other family members. So welcome to the Enquist family. It is our pleasure to welcome the Enquist family to the celebration tonight. So thank you for being here. And we want to thank all of you. We are over 500 people tonight, so another sellout year in support of the student body of the School of Architecture. Tonight, through our activities and membership program, the USC Architectural Guild strives to incorporate and inspire new generations of architects, urban planners, landscape architects, designers, real estate developers, and other building industry professionals. And it was a good year this year for the USC Architectural Guild. Some of our activities included another outstanding golf tournament hosted last August by John Conady and Annie Goto. We hosted several faculty showcase events highlighting some of the school's newest faculty members. We hosted our third annual Orange County reception and mixer at the offices of Turner Construction. We organized a unique and special career week with workshops and focused seminars for students, and then we concluded with yet another successful firm fair. I would like to say thank you to all of our corporate members and other firms who came out in support of our students. We also organized a series of student roundtable meetings and a faculty roundtable workshop with the intent of creating a stronger connection to the students, to the faculty, and to the School of Architecture. And with our successes, we awarded a number of traveling fellowships and scholarships at both the undergraduate and graduate level, sponsored by John Adams Jurdy, FAIA, sitting right here in front, Chase Levitt, Avi Ephraim Gesundheit, George Mayer, and the Gesundheit family. We also awarded the Anthony A. Marnell Endowed Scholarship and the new Stephen Wong Scholarship. I would now like to take a moment to recognize these distinguished donors for their generosity and the deserving student recipients. We've seated these outstanding students and a few student leaders with many of you throughout the room tonight. Students, please stand and be recognized. I am pleased to report this evening that we have increased our membership and several new corporate members over the last recent months. Thank you to all of you who have become members of the Architectural Guild and attended our events over this past year. We have also formed a new entity, the Guild Leadership Circle, envisioned to assist the Dean and the Guild President with vision and strategy that will provide continuity for the coming year. This will be our first year of the Guild Leadership Circle. Now for some Guild business. I would like to thank this year's dinner chairs, Michael Ross, Doug Moreland, and Martha Ball, for this special event and their space reflective of Phil's work. I would also like to thank all of the table and half-table sponsors and our tribute book supporters. All of you are noted in tonight's tribute book. And I would like to recognize our current board of directors and thank each of you for your leadership, contribution, your dedication, making this year a success. Will the current board of directors please stand and be recognized? And lastly, a special thank you to our guild director, Zelda Wong, for her tireless efforts, her commitments to the school and to the students, and finally for all of the support that she provides to the board of directors. Thank you, Zelda. And now for the Outstanding Achievement Award. This is given each year to a retiring guild board member for dedication and service to the school. This year, the board of directors is proud to recognize Mr. Michael Ross for his efforts and chairmanship of tonight's annual dinner. Michael, will you please join me? Next, I would like to present the Architectural Guild Founders Award, which was established in 2008 to honor an individual whose exceptional service to the School of Architecture has been transformative to the Guild and its mission. It is given as deserved. Our first recipient of this award was Clint Turnstrom, who is with us tonight. This year, we are presenting it for the second time to someone who you all know and whose leadership at the School of Architecture and whose dedication to the Guild is a model for us all. We are proud to recognize former dean, professor, and professional colleague, Bob Harris, for this award. Bob, will you please join me? Alongside Bob's deanship and his exceptional faculty leadership at the school, Bob has been a true champion of the Guild for the past 30 years. Early on, he envisioned the Guild's mission as the enhancement of the quality of the student academic experience through exhibitions, symposia, and visiting scholars to the school. He worked with the Guild board to create the Distinguished Alumnus Award. Bob successfully advanced the Guild through its annual dinner, golf tournament, and other signature events as the premier building industry networking event and organization in Southern California. Today, the Guild is considered one of the most successful support groups at USC and is both recognized and emulated nationwide by other peer architecture schools. Bob, we present you with the 2010 USC Architectural Guild Founders Award. Under the leadership of Dean Ching-Yun Ma, the School of Architecture in the midst of many exciting initiatives and programs. These new efforts will create connections to new technologies and sustainability studies for all students and poise the school, its faculty, and its students to become leaders in the global academic community. But Dean Ma can share with you more about these exciting changes that are coming our way. On behalf of the Guild, we appreciate his leadership and his guidance in support of the Architectural Guild's vision and strategy. Please Please join me in welcoming Dean Ma.
Thank you. We have been told the economy out there is very bad. I don't feel that here. That's because we're partying. Party make us forget what's out there, make us more focused, what have brought us here together. Thank you for all. And I wanted to, last year was amazing year. Very successful, regardless of all the hardship that around us, but it was exciting, successful year. All because of Corey here. Corey, thank you. Well, what I will miss last year mostly is actually his shirt. Well, I don't mean to direct your attention to my shirt. That was, that's just, I'm getting encouraged by him. Well, on behalf of the school, faculty, staff, students, I like to present a certificate and little gift as tokens of our appreciation of Corey's dedication, hard work to make us guild more engaging, more exciting, and more parties, hopefully. Well, it's truly an honor for us all together here this evening to celebrate Philip Enquist, class of 1947 tonight. Oh, not 1974. Okay, yes, 74. Right, don't open your book to see those photos, because those photos in 1970s are truly too cool, right? You probably saw the book, right? Don't look at the photos yet. Phil embodies all the attributes that we seek to teach our students today. He's creative, imaginative, and more importantly, globally connected. We recognize him for his achievement as the firm-wide leader of SOM's urban design and planning endeavors, where he has focused on the rebuilding of inner cities around the globe, from their commercial trading centers to their residential neighborhoods, and strengthening the existing fabric of the city throughout the world, and more importantly, to address urban infrastructure and preservation of natural environment. In his work, Mr. Enquist strives to create underlying structure and logics for human habitat, and more importantly, beautiful, elegant spaces for all cultures that defining our urban agenda. Phil joins our legacy of distinguished alumnus, some of whom are with us tonight. Please hold your applauses until I have mentioned all the names here tonight. We have USC's first distinguished alumnus from 1985, John Adams Jurdy. Other distinguished alumni who I'm honored to welcome here are Randall Mackinson, Christopher Martin, David Martin, Victor Rainier, Chad Widom, Ron Altoon, Ed Niles, and Marv Taff. Will you please all stand up? Let us recognize you where you are and give a big round of applause. Thank you. Thank you. Well, it's been said USC have a long, strong tradition. And this is the moment that we actually recognize that's a real, truly strong tradition through the years. I would like to now share with you some of the significant development during the current academic year. Our undergraduate and graduate recruitment and admissions continue to be an important focus for the School of Architecture. The school have seen an increase in both the number and quality of our freshman first-year applicants, And thanks to the Timmy Center, we now have 150 graduate students and certificate programs in all of our 4 graduate programs. They are architecture, landscape architecture, historical preservation, and building science. The faculty continues to be renewed, enriched, invigorated at the school. We're actively recruiting internationally, and you expect to hear about more exciting news on the faculty appointments in the coming months. Our Masters of Landscape Architectural program alone has tripled in size this fall, and will have 39 new and continuing students, initiated by Emmett Wimple, reignited by Mark Reels, and Bob Harris now at the helm as our interim director. We have increased offerings addressing sustainability and urbanism. We're actively and aggressively seeking the school's first chair in landscape architecture, as well as additional landscape faculty. If you know somebody who wants to donate a chair, let me know. I'll pass my cell phone around. Thanks to the persistent efforts of Professor Doug Noble, we now have a PhD program with a goal of 9 top students in this coming fall. We invite you all, if you have not get tired of us, you come back to get PhD degree. But more important is PhD program will form our critical center for academic researches and funded researches in sustainability and building science, which is a really emerging area that architectural school must embrace. We're currently planning a data shop, which will house all our digital technology, both in hardware and software, into one space at Harris Hall. It will accelerate our academic programs in digital integration and data processing, distance learning, and play as a testbed for many other researches in the future. This will position USC as a technology leader among schools worldwide. As Corey noted, the Architectural Guild has had an excellent year. The Guild is the strongest external support organization of any school at the university, and no other school of architecture comes near it in its networking advantages for nearly, well, more than 50 years, for 51 years, more than half a century. Through exceptional leadership and dedication, the Guild has supported the educational mission of the School of Architecture. I would encourage all of you to join the Guild if you're not already a member yet. Well, yes, this is the time. This is the most monumental moment to join the Guild. You're very encouraged. Now, it is my pleasure to announce the new 2009-2010 gifts and endowments to the school and to recognize the donors. The description of these gifts is in your program book. Please hold your applause until the end. The school received important archive this year, illuminating the life and work of leading alumni and designers in the region. They are the archives of Lee Klein, the archives of Jim Simons and Annette Del Zoppo, and lastly, and most importantly, the Edward Fickett FAIA Architectural Archive, a treasury of materials which will provide future generations of students and scholars valuable drawings, artwork, and other documentation of 20th century architecture from one of USC's most influential alumni. Joyce Fickett with us tonight as well. Joyce, where are you? Thank you. The Gamble House, as many of you know, and I actually learned Philip was one of the Gamble House residents when he was in school. Anyway, Gamble House is doing good. doing better, Gamble House received recent gifts enhancing its mission of bridging the architecture of arts and crafts movement to a wider audience. The gifts are from the John Randolph and Dora Haynes Foundation, the Ann Peppers Foundation, and Wingate Foundation. A generous gift received from the Steve Kelly MacLeod Foundation provides funds for the publication of the first full-length, fully illustrated book exclusively on the Gamble House to be published in the year of 2012. The USC American Academy in China, now it's in its third year, realized support for its Divergent Convergent exhibition in Beijing, with 14 Western schools participating last summer, through major gifts from AECOM China, Far Glory Development Corporation Taiwan, Judith Fun Family, and Unique Exhibition Company. Legacy gifts this year through the school's Benefactors for the Future, our planned giving program, include funds from alumnus Barry Gittleson, the estate of Mac Wimple, and the other O'Leary estate. I'm pleased to announce new endowment fund established this year. Like all endowments at the school, these gifts will enhance our students' program, not only today, but for generations to come. The Gesundheit Family Architecture Guild Endowment Traveling Fellowship, established by Susan and Jaime Gesundheit Funds, an international travel experience fund for students in any one of our 4 graduate programs. The Edward C. Wong Endowment Cross-Disciplinary Fellowship was created this year by alumnus Stephen Wong to honor his father. Funds are designated to an undergraduate student who has a professional objective in real estate and urban development so that he or she can take the additional career-enhancing courses from the Marshall School of Business or the School of Policy Planning and Development. The school also received seminal gifts this year to advance our faculty and graduate program research agenda. The Turnstrom Family Endowment for Excellence was established by one of the Guild founders, alumnus Clinton Turnstrom. It makes program funds available for advanced research in sustainability, studies, and in technology. Will the donors of this generous gift now stand and be recognized, and please join me in thanking them for all their generosity and support. Well, I know it was a long list. I wasn't going to bore you with the reading of the list, but more importantly, I was going to impress you how much gifts we have received. And this will keep going. More. Next year, I hope to read twice as long. Would you enable me? Well, I like to read long list of gifts, as you can, I'm sure. Now, I would like to announce a new faculty fund that is revolutionizing our research direction at the school. This is the George Isaacs Distinguished Visiting Fellow in Digital Technology, and it was established by USC alumnus George Isaacs. The purpose of the fellowship is to stimulate and transform design excellence at the school through integrated digital technology. George is not only generous to set this fellowship, but is also very generous to fly in from Hawaii to join us this evening. George, may you be stand and let us recognize you. Thank you all. I will join you again over the dessert to unveil the real purpose of this party. I'll see you in a minute. Now, the real party starts. This is the 21st Annual Architectural Guild dinner. The school is fortunate to have an organization such as the Guild to provide support and connectivity to the community and profession for many years. It is a pleasure to be able to recognize an outstanding alumnus every year, and through the Guild, we continue this proud tradition. Now, I'm pleased to introduce a very special presentation about tonight's honoree, Philip Enquist, fellow member of American Institute of Architects, design partner and firm-wide leader responsible for urban design and planning at SOM Chicago. Is the presentation ready? Anyway, before it gets ready, I wanted to apologize that in the naming of or mentioning our alumnus through the years, I forgot one very important name. So that that actually, yes, I'm not going to mention it. Don't indicate it yet. Well, that actually shows that I kind of made up my speech. And as I made it up alone, I forgot names. Well, that's actually, it's highly programmed, and the names actually specifically reserved for fail to mention, right? I think that name has not only is alumnus, distinguished alumnus, but has a very strong special relation to our honoree this evening. So I'm going to invite Phil later on to mention that name. So is the presentation ready? I will direct your attention to the screens if...
I believe we are making a difference in the world, so it's great to be a part of that, and it's great to be at Phil's side as he takes on these new challenges.
When you work all over the world, you can very quickly lose sight if you're only dealing in the day-to-day. So broadening the conversation with our colleagues and other collaborators, helps give us that grounding on which to remind ourselves of what we are doing.
It's remarkable to be able to sit with mayors of cities in countries that you're not from. I think everybody in this room feels that we are really blessed with this role we found ourselves in.
Is his work actually embraces issues that are not only local, but actually very global. And as urbanization, sometime 20 years ago, pick on this urbanizing force, that is really something significant. And I also think the third dimension of that reason is that he represents a rigor that's still on its making, and it's accelerating. It's basically escalating. So it is not a conclusion of a career, but it's more of another tipping point that actually, another threshold that's going even more significant.
Phil is already recognized nationwide, if not worldwide, as one of the leading urban designers and urban planners in the country.
The beauty of Phil is always rounding up. Everything that I've ever been involved with, when we're in the room together, if I say something, he goes up from there.
He's very easy to work with, very collaborative, has a great sense of humor.
And Phil's approach is always to capitalize on the unique resources that are there.
I was kind of like the parent, and I didn't mind it at all because I always enjoyed kids because I took care of kids all my life. I didn't have any.
Some of my most vivid memories are in the basement of the Gamble House, where we had a studio in the corner where we spent many an all-nighter.
So Phil, if you know him, has ways of getting what he wants done. This is one of the most beloved guys that's ever lived here.
Phil has done an incredible job of weighing all these different factors that it takes to make a city livable. And part of that, you have to believe, started here at the Gamble House with his living here and experiencing the house and experiencing great architecture and understanding how the house and the environment work together.
I think it's incredibly fortunate to be interested in urban design and work for a firm like Skidmore, Owings & Merrill. From the very beginning, the firm was interested in designing cities. Some of the first projects were the planning of the World's Fair in Chicago, doing new communities for the Tennessee Valley Authority, looking at the larger issues of circulation. Nat Owings really brought this larger perspective to the firm from the very beginning. Nat Owings was invited to come to Washington. Nat brought David Childs into the picture, and David carried that legacy forward.
He and Pat Moynihan hired me to work on the design of the Pennsylvania Avenue plan, and that blossomed into the National Mall and the Federal Precinct. Phil has continued the tradition of SOM and their interest in large-scale design, and it only is getting larger and more relevant as we deal with the environment, as we deal with linkages between political bodies and geological areas.
Phil always takes the long view. I mean, he's looking not at short-term issues, but at how you can build community, how you can build cities, and understanding first, you know, what is the platform in which this is taking place.
A city needs to be pedestrian-oriented, and it needs to be ordered. And then the chaos comes from individual buildings and people.
In 1955, very few people in the world really were living in major cities. So you see how many cities of over 5 million people were in the world. I mean, you had Los Angeles and Chicago and New York. You had Mexico City and Tokyo. We go from 1955 to, let's say, 1975. You start seeing more cities over 5 million people, which is an indication of global migration. As we move to 1995 or 2000 or 2015, look what happens. We have this tremendous new generation of cities over 5 million people that are basically stretching from northern China, Korea, Japan, all the way down around Southeast Asia, all through India and over to North Africa. Are these cities ready for this? Can they anticipate this kind of growth and engineer their cities so that they can accommodate this growth this quickly? This is a huge challenge for us, and we are really living now in a very different world than in 1955. We've had a great relationship with the city of Chicago for many, many years. Chicago has a great planning legacy with Daniel Burnham, and so we're lucky to be able to build off of that incredibly strong framework of streets, transit, and public open space. It's been a great lesson for us that a city that is building off of a strong civic plan can move forward in great ways. And we've tried to leverage what we've learned in Chicago to the planning in Chinese cities. So our work in Shanghai, in Beijing, in Wuhan, Shenzhen has really been about the principles of good city building. Some of the issues I think we're facing today that we see in China is that the population that is basically still in rural communities and focused on farming are making very small amounts of money. Yet the growing of food is critical not only to the Chinese population but to the world's population.
It was his project, Chongming, this extraordinary island, at the delta of the Yangtze, close to Shanghai. Phil's approach is always broad and expansive, and so I think his vision, especially related to sustainable, locally grown food for this large metropolitan area that's become a culinary capital, was really extraordinary and something that, you wouldn't find in Asia often.
Keeping farming close to cities is critically important so that you have locally grown foods. You're not trucking food all around the country. Not everything should be developed as part of the city. Some rural open space areas, some agricultural areas should absolutely be preserved. A great city anywhere in the world should be beautiful, culturally rich, and generally shining, with a human energy that courses through its streets and public spaces.
In terms of city designers, Phil's at the top, but it goes way beyond that. He's a visionary.
It's not about being visionary. I think that it's about a commitment to a subject as complex as cities.
What it is really is to develop a symbiotic relationship between man and nature, so that it's actually giving from each side. It's give and take.
He was always interested in, if you will, the larger picture, the implications for the community, for the neighborhood.
Jane Jacobs talked at length about the right kind of density to live in. She was advocating for neighborhoods of 80 to 100 units per acre. Something like North Beach in San Francisco or Brooklyn, where you're living in close proximity to many people, and yet you're still at a density where you know your neighbors. This is a great model moving forward, where we can accommodate high density but live still in very vibrant, safe, great neighborhoods.
This holistic approach that looks in an integrated way at all of these complicated elements that go into community building, into city building, are keys to success in the future.
Only do what we can in our time, and it's important to go after the most critical problems in the time that you're living, I feel, and solve the problems that affect the most people.
Our challenge moving forward in the 21st century is really how to build great cities, livable cities, and be able to live in higher density environments.
We are never going to win by telling people no. We're never going to win by telling people they can't or they shouldn't. We're going to win by making a city that is more beautiful and more intelligent than any city we've ever seen. That's when we'll get to sustainability.
I believe we are making a difference in the world, so it's great to be a part of that, and it's great to be at Phil's side as he takes on these new challenges.
When you work all over the world, you can very quickly lose sight if you're only dealing in the day-to-day. So broadening the conversation with our colleagues and other collaborators, helps give us that grounding on which to remind ourselves of what we are doing.
It's remarkable to be able to sit with mayors of cities in countries that you're not from. I think everybody in this room feels that we are really blessed with this role we found ourselves in.
Well, the academies have argued that urban planning and design as a career has disappeared. I know the reason why now. It's because SOM took them all, and Phil has took them all. Well, I have personal experience in that statement because as a practicing architect in China in the last 10 years, I don't think I have ever escaped the urban area that's been planned by SOM. Now I know who did it. Shenzhen, Beijing, Shanghai, Tianjin, everywhere. Everywhere we have project, and we're given a master plan guidelines, and they're all made by SOM. And amazing, truly amazing. And thank you, Phil, for the great work. And I'm going to now invite Corey to join me. Corey, would you? And also Phil. Actually, I have to read this. I'm so excited. It's hard to read it now because you guys are around me. I'm proud to present to you the 2010 USC School of Architecture Distinguished Alumnus Award. And that's the word. I have to read. Okay. I also have a task to read what's in the award. Let me try this. In recognition of his achievements as partner in charge of urban design and planning at Skidmore, Owens, and Morrell, Chicago, in honor of his award-winning projects focused on the rebuilding of inner cities, their commercial centers and neighborhoods, as well as the strengthening of existing city infrastructure and the preservation of the natural environment, in celebration of his creative contributions toward creating the underlying structure for humane and rational habitats, workplace, open public spaces, and agricultural areas on the rapidly urbanizing planet, the Architectural Guild of USC. Phil. Yes, it's printed very small, but if you really read into it, it actually said that, okay? All right, so this, Phil, congratulations. It's not done yet. There's another... Beautiful plate. I'm too short to hand on his neck. Maybe I'll ask Corey to do it. Corey, can you?
Okay, so we need to.
Yes.
I have to wear this. Do I stay up here? Yes. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. It's just very, very heavy. Okay, Zelda told me to keep this to 5 minutes, so I'm going to do my best. But first, I know every one of you has the same question on your mind, which is, where does Dean Ma buy his shirts, right? And for that matter, Corey, right? Where do you guys get those shirts? Well, this is a great honor, and my immense gratitude goes to USC for this evening. So thank you so much to be recognized for work in planning and urban design from a School of Architecture is wonderful. So thank you very much. And before I go through this long list of people I want to specifically thank, I just want to say one thing, that the School of Architecture here at USC has done a really amazing thing. Oh, I forgot. I'm sorry, I forgot. We have to recognize Boris Dramoff as a former alumni, a distinguished alumnus. Boris, will you please stand? Okay, good. Okay, this doesn't count for my 5 minutes, all right? But as I was saying, the School of Architecture, I think, has done a remarkable thing by bringing Dean Ma to the school. connecting the university, the city of Los Angeles, the country, to the culture of China and the design and ideas of this brilliant young architect from Shanghai. I think this is incredibly exciting at this particular time in the world. So I would really love it if all of you could join me in congratulating Dean Ma on his incredible energy applied to the schools. Thank you very, very much. Okay, now the 5 minutes can start. And I have to start again by thanking the university, the School of Architecture, where I met so many incredible people, including my wife, Joanna Karatzis, who was a graduate from 1974 with me and so many others at the School of Architecture. And USC, as you all know, is an incredibly inspirational setting at the most impressionable time in one's life. When you're 18 to 22, to be in a place like this as a young student is incredible, and it stays with you your whole life. So thank you also to the Architectural Guild. Corey, thank you for leading this effort, and Michael Ross for organizing this incredible dinner. It's really incredible. To all my friends at the Gamble House, I have to really start with you because as a graduate student, this was the human factor of a student's life. Living at the Gamble House with Randall Mackinson, Gene Harris, who is here tonight, Bob Murrin, Doug Moreland, Ted Bosley, who is now leading the charge there, Dottie O'Carroll, so many others. The Gamble House was such a nurturing environment for a student. It was incredible. So thank you, everybody, and friends of the Gamble House. Thank you. The faculty, staff, and students, I'm glad Ed Niles is here tonight. Thank you for being so patient with all of us and acting like you believed in us. Zelda Wong, for all your work organizing this dinner, also thank you for your support and guidance on everything, this book, the film, everything. It's incredible. Yes. A lot of my family is here tonight, and many of us are spread all over the country, although so many of us are Angelinos. A very big thank you for all of you coming, to Joanna and our son Nick, who isn't here tonight. Big thank you for everything, to allow me to work in this incredibly wonderful profession. And when you marry a Greek woman, I don't know if you saw that movie, but when you marry a Greek woman for free, for absolutely free, you get 100 new relatives. And so I want to thank my Greek family, both in Athens. Many are architects in Athens, wonderful people, and the Los Angeles side of the Greek family, especially Polly Latikos, who couldn't be with us tonight. But thank you all for being here with both Joanna and I. Now, to my friends of the class of 1974, many are here tonight. It's amazing. We're all still breathing. Mario Alvarez and his wife came all the way from San Salvador, El Salvador. And thank you. I don't know where you're sitting. Thank you very much for coming all this way. And Mario, also thank you for all those emails you send me weekly that are so incredibly inspirational. Mike Resack is here tonight, Dan Chun, Phil Anisovich, Peter Linenthal, all these great friends from early days. And then a special thank you to Jana Wong, who I've known from USC since 1970, and Neil Healy, and they're joined by Jack Healy, who is the grandson of Jin Wong, who's tied to the school in a very strong way. So it's a small world. A special thanks, I have to say, to two people. One I've already mentioned, but both of them are an incredible duo, Boris Dramoff and Bonnie Fisher, who taught me the importance of working 24 hours a day. But the most important thing they taught me is that you enjoy those 24 hours a day. And they right out of school, moving to San Francisco, they had this incredible way of energizing everybody they worked with and spinning every project to a positive note, that design is a positive, exciting profession, and I really learned that from the two of you. So thank you very much. As the film mentioned, I am very thankful to SOM and my SOM partners who tolerate an awful lot from me. And tonight we have Richard Tomlinson and his wife Anne, and Gene Schneer and his wife Abby, who are here, as well as Tom Hussey from our Chicago office and Ellen Liu from our San Francisco office. So thank you all for joining us. And we work very collaboratively. Ellen, John Cricken, Dan Ringelstein in London, Silas Chow and Susan Chow. They've come, I think, the furthest. They came from Shanghai tonight. Could you two stand? I would love everybody in the room to meet these two incredible people from Shanghai. And now there's one person I owe a very special thank you to. I probably run over my 5 minutes. But this is important because she gave up her job to come to Los Angeles for somebody, some of you know, somebody named John Wilborn. I don't know. And Martha had my job in Chicago, and she went to Los Angeles to spearhead things like the bus system for Los Angeles and Grand Avenue, and encouraged the Chicago partners of SOM to bring me to Chicago. If it wasn't for Martha, this would not be the person standing here tonight. So Martha, thank you so much. So in closing, because I feel the hook coming. In closing, Joanna and I now live in Chicago, and we're well aware that all of you in California, because we used to live here too, see the Midwest as nothing more than a flyover zone. You fly over the Midwest going to New York or Chicago or Paris or wherever you're going, but you don't land in Chicago. So I want to assure you that Chicago is a really great city. And I invite you all to come out. You can all stay with us, all of you. And let us show you around, because I think you'd really enjoy this place. So stop looking at it as a flyover zone. Planes do land there. And just to close, Bruce Mao was in the film. He's become a very good friend. He's a neighbor of ours. And he told me one day that he said, you know, it's not about the world of design. And that's really what this room is all about, the world of design. He said, it's really about the design of the world. Because with the population growth and the urban migration and the challenge to natural resources, we have to design how to be more in balance with nature. And I think that's the challenge, and I think that's why it's so great to have Dean Ma at the school. It's a global perspective we need today, and I think USC is right on target. So thank you very, very much for this recognition and for this incredible guild. Thank you.
Thank you, Phil. And thank you once again for inspiring us in our careers and in our lives as architects and design professionals, and for making our cities and environments a better place to live and to work. I am pleased to inform all of you here tonight that your presence in the Guild this evening has raised nearly $100,000, which will be designated in part to our newest planned addition, the school's data shop. Dean Ma mentioned that earlier as well. It is scheduled to open in the fall of 2011 as a fully integrated, advanced digital technology center. It will position the USC School of Architecture, its undergraduate and graduate research agenda at the forefront of schools across the nation. You will be hearing more about this transformative role in the academic program in the coming months. Thank you once again for all of your support this evening to all of you. As we close this evening's program, it is my distinct pleasure to introduce Mr. Walt Cousineau of Hayworth, the incoming 2010-2011 president of the USC Architectural Guild.
Corey, thank you. And thank to all of you for coming tonight to make this such a huge event. I get the great pleasure and the distinction of announcing the new board for 2010 that will help me carry Corey and everyone's vision into the future. And I'd like you to hold your applause to the end, but I'd like to announce the new executive committee, which will be the new vice president, my dear friend Mark Nays, our secretary-treasurer, which will be John Mills, and new board members, which will include Janice Jurdy from the Jurdy Partnership, Leonard Pate from Leonard Pate ID, Dwayne McLeod from the Walt Disney Imagineering, and Esther Margolis from the Valley Crest Design Group. Would all of you stand and be recognized? Well, if you thought this event was great, you should see what we have planned for 2010. The first will be our corporate event at the USC, the new campus center. It's going to be an incredible special day with teams leading you through the new center, headed up by the Real Estate and the Capital Projects Group on June 26th. One of the most exciting will be the China trip, the Guild's China trip, headed up by Dean Ma, which will be July the 2nd through the 11th, which will tie in with the World Expo in Shanghai. From what I've heard from Dottie, this is a trip that's not meant to be missed. This is something you should sign up early for because it sells out quite quickly. The next will be the golf tournament, which is one of the highlights of the summer, which will be at the Lakeside Golf Club, and that will be August the 23rd. So all of us on the team hope and expect to see you there in 2010. Thank you so much for coming tonight, and drive safely.